Moderator, good morning. My name is Officer Tom Jackson. I'm the media coordinator for Newcastle County Police.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you all for coming to the press conference today. This morning is the Division of Police and the Families of Homicide Victims seek assistance. I'd like now to introduce Colonel E.M. Setting.
Good morning and welcome to the Newcastle County Police Department. I'm Colonel Elmer Setting, the Chief of Police. I think it's important to point out the delay. The survivors that were in the other room were saying a prayer. I think that's very poignant that they were in there praying. I think we're all in the same boat. We are praying for a police department and a community to come together. There is not a single victim out there that someone doesn't know who shot them, doesn't know who the perpetrator is. There are many ways that information can be surrendered to the county police so that we can do our due diligence and investigate these crimes. We're having a different kind of press conference today for a very different reason. Normally we have a press conference when we've made an arrest. When we've made arrests in multiple homicides, including Parma Avenue. But there are many other homicides that have occurred recently where arrests need to be made. So we're bringing the survivors here today so that these young men that are pulling these triggers get to see the fruits of their labors. Prior to me recognizing the dignitaries that are here, the lawmakers that help us do this job, I want to recognize all of the survivors that are here. I want you to see and meet these people. They will have an opportunity to speak. We will have a lengthy press conference. I assure you it will be worth it to hear the message. We do not have to tolerate this violence. We do not have to tolerate this loss. All the survivors, please rise. These are the family members of all the deceased, the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, the brothers, the sisters, the fathers. These are whose lives you're affecting when you pull out a gun and shoot someone over disrespect or a comment, or for whatever reason. No reason is good enough. I want you to see these people. Thank you very much. Several of these folks have offered to speak, and I think it's very important. So another mother out there, another brother out there, another sister out there sees today the effect that you're having. And if you don't want to be that mother or grandmother standing here with them, next press conference, you'll pick up the phone, you'll use your computer, you can use anonymity through our app, you can go any way you want to give us this information, but we need your help. We are good at our jobs, but while we wait and investigate where these people may be and get our charges together, they're going to murder someone else. Or they're going to get murdered themselves by another gang. Most of these are just kids. We know this. We've seen the gang posters. We've seen the names. We've seen the ages. Born in 2000, born in 2002, born in 2004, born in 99. These are young men. Their entire lives in front of them. And stealing the young men from these families and the rest of their lives. And whatever they were going to do and whoever they were going to be has been snuffed out. Going to recognize the dignitaries, and then we're going to move the press conference forward with some speakers. First, I'd like to recognize our County Executive, Tom Gordon. Good morning. Our Chief Financial Officer is here, Mike Coop. President of County Council, Christopher Bullock. Councilwoman Janet Kilpatrick. Councilman Penrose Hollins. Councilman Jay Street. Mr. Streets will be speaking today as our Public Safety Chair. The Attorney General, Matt Dan, is here. Thank you, sir. Head DAG, Kathy Jennings. State Representative J.J. Johnson, and I believe I saw Senator Margaret Rose Henry walk in. Thank you, Senator, for being here. You know, the first person I'm going to call up here is our County Executive. He has an important piece of information in regards to this press conference. And as a former Chief of Police, he recognizes the struggle that we're in right now to solve these homicides. The Honorable Tom Gordon. Sir.
Good afternoon. Let me first welcome everyone here and to give my condolences to the families of the victims. I had a conversation with the chief just yesterday. There's people in this room that had to deal with real gangs in the 70s and the 80s. Well, we had organized crime, we had the pagans, Kathy Jennings in the back of the room. we know how to break up gangs. And we're going to take off the restraints from this day forward. We have the most advanced technical police department in the country right now. Today we're going to be, I have to give our county council a lot of credit for backing everything we do. And I think our strategy is working here, it's going to work in the city. But in an attempt to bring closure to the victims' families of these tragedies, I'm announcing that our county council is authorized to reward up to $10,000 for information leading to the arrest and convictions of persons responsible for any of these homicides that are being investigated. The men and women of the Newcastle County Police Department are dedicated in solving these crimes. They will investigate these crimes to the fullest extent. They will not go into a cold file. The entire police department will be working around the clock to stop these senseless killings in Newcastle County and in Wilmington. Spoke to the mayor on the way here. And actually has his Reverend Beeman, his Reverend representing him today. And these kids don't have criminal records. They're not good criminals. They're killers, whether it's TV shows or whether it's an insult or it's drugs. You're going to see a lot tougher policing. We're going to need your help. With a lot of cars pulled over, there's going to be stops, and there's going to be, but it's time to deal with it and get it stopped. And I'm very proud that this police department is positioned in the right place at the right time in history to get this done. And I'm very proud of Joe Bryant, Elmer Setting, and the police department here. And I see one of our public safety, Councilman Bill Bell. Now I'm going to turn it back over to our distinguished chief of police. Thank you very much.
As the chief of police, I have many duties and responsibilities, but the duties and responsibilities of running the operations division falls to Major Vaughn Bond. And again, it's an unusual press conference to be bringing the operations major up here, but it's also important, and the message that he is going to be delivering today, as he sees over every one of these investigations, and he sees over every operational police officer in this department, from special operations to detectives to the patrol division. Major Bond.
Good morning. The Newcastle County Police Department is committed to preventing and solving all criminal activity occurring in Newcastle County. While all crimes are demanding of our resources, no crime is more demanding than that of a homicide. From the onset of a homicide investigation, we will assign upwards of 15 detectives from our criminal investigations unit to the case. This does not include the patrol officers who respond to the initial 911 call. Our detectives will be used to process scenes, conduct neighborhood canvasses, interviews, follow up on information gleaned from those interviews, perform terrain searches in search of evidence that may be associated with the crime. Oftentimes, as a result of our efforts, we are able to gather evidence that will point us in a specific direction. However, there are occasions when we, in spite of our best efforts, are not able to develop a suspect or establish enough probable cause to make an arrest. Today's press conference is a plea to the community, from not only the police, but the families who have lost loved ones to the senseless violence that is sweeping our state. Many people tend to look at the number of homicides and they see just that. They see a number. What is overlooked is the fact that that number was a person, not a statistic. This person was loved by someone. They mattered in the lives of others, whether they be a parent, a spouse, significant other, sibling, or child. At the end of the day, they matter. With that being said, today's press conference is twofold. First, we want the residents of Newcastle County to know that our agency is working feverishly on our homicides, but we cannot do it alone. In spite of advancements in evidence scene processing, DNA, surveillance cameras, etc., we still need the partnership and cooperation from our communities. We need the community partners to come forward with information as soon as possible. We recognize the climate in today's society, and as a result, most police agencies, including Newcastle County Police, have mechanisms in place that allow for the person providing information to remain anonymous. Credible information will be used to shrink the vast suspect pool, thereby allowing us to use our resources in a more efficient manner. Secondly, and equally important, we want to drive home the point that I mentioned earlier, that these victims mattered in the lives of countless others. To drive this point home, we want you to hear about some of our victims and the effect the loss of their lives have had on their families. We will want nothing more than to give every unsolved homicide victim family in Newcastle County an opportunity to speak today. But sadly, we just don't have time. We've invited many families, and 3 of the families will have representatives and will get up and speak today. There are other families that are here and present and will be available if anyone would like to speak with them following the press conference. At this time, what I would like to do is introduce the family representatives, and I'm going to provide just a brief synopsis of the open homicide investigation. The Green family, speaking for the family will be Wayne Green, who is a father. Mr. and Mrs. Green is seated here before me. Who is a father of DeAndre Green. DeAndre Green was shot and killed on Saturday, December 28, 2013 at 11:45 p.m. while attending a teenage party at the Brookside Community Center. Although there was an altercation taking place when the shooting occurred, DeAndre and his friends were not involved and were fleeing the immediate area when he was struck and subsequently passed away. DeAndre was 16 years old. As I said time and time again, he did what many of us did at 16 years of age. He went out to a party. His parents are struggling right now with the fact that they allowed him to go, but they thought it was going to be safe. That night, he did not come home, and that's not fair. The Raleigh family. Speaking for the family will be Neri Burgos, who has had a special relationship with Nicholas Raleigh. On Saturday, December 20th, 2014 at 12:43 p.m., our officers were dispatched to Woodland Park Apartments for a report of a suspicious vehicle. Officers arrived to find Nicholas Raleigh, 30 years of age, deceased from a gunshot wound, and another man critically injured inside of a vehicle described as a silver 2002 Nissan Altima. We have put out this vehicle. We've asked the public for assistance and help. We still have work to do on this case. That's why we're highlighting it. Again, Nicholas Raleigh, a father, a son, he meant a lot to his family and to his friends. We have an obligation to solve that case. But again, we need help from the community. The latest homicide that we're investigating involves the Kilgo family. And speaking for the family will be Tondra Magna, who is the mother of the victim, Jamar Kilgo. On Monday, February 16th at 2:45, we responded to the Rose Hill Community Center for a report of a shooting. Officers arrived within minutes to find Jamar Kilgo, age 30, deceased from a gunshot wound. Jamar was shot and killed while recording a song in a recording studio at the community center. He leaves behind 2 children, 2 sons. It makes you wonder how their life is going to be affected by this. We're going to hear a little bit from the family as they discuss that. It is our hope that someone from the community will contact the Newcastle County Police with information regarding these or other unsolved homicides. The individuals responsible for taking a life should not continue to walk freely about. As a community, we have a moral obligation to see that these suspects are held responsible and accountable for their actions. These families are here today, and they deserve to see justice. If for no other reason, we need you to provide information for the family. And before I leave, I'll just leave everyone with a question, and anyone who sees this. If it were your family member, would you want someone to speak up? Would you want someone to speak up?